the words of Dave Grohl, I love this quote for starting artists. You just gotta get in a garage with your friends and just suck and just suck and just keep sucking until one day you don't suck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a podcast for creative people. I am author Christopher Talon. If you haven't already, please buy my books, Switchers or Sleepwalker Angel. And if you already have bought them, please review them somewhere online so other people know that they're worth buying. Thank you. All right, enough about me. I talked with Pablo Eskobear, who is a well-known in the Grand Rapids area. He has recently won the Instrumental Album of the Year at the Jammie Awards, and he's produced tracks for so many artists, both locally and national artists. One artist you may recognize, Sonny Ski, was on a recent episode of the show, and in the show notes you can find a link to the music video for the song The Grandest, which Pablo produced. We talk about a lot of things in this episode. We talk about, the beginning of his musical career, before it was a career, just a thing that he was exploring as a child, how his musical outlets have kind of evolved and changed throughout the years, and just a bunch of stuff here. Check out the show notes to make sure that you check him out on social media, see where his Spotify stuff is, his website, all that stuff in the show notes. So let's get to it. Here is my interview with Pablo Eskobear. Sitting here with Pablo Eskobear, who, for those who don't know, is a fantastic musician who just fucking crushes it on the drums. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been playing drums?
I've been playing since I was 12. I was in percussion in middle school, actually 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade. And then, like the band, I would play snare drum, or I would play bass drum, or I would hit the crash cymbals, or I would play the xylophone, that kind of.
Yeah.
I hated it, and I just wanted to play a real drum set, but couldn't do that unless I was in the jazz band. There's only one jazz drummer allowed for that. So got a drum set, I think, when I was in 8th grade, quit the school band thing, had 2 weeks of lessons, and then learned the basics, quit the lessons, and then self-taught.
Yeah.
Self-taught since. So
did you have people that were like, dude, can you jam with us? And you guys kind of brought each other up as musicians, or did you just play a lot in the basement by yourself?
Well, played a lot by myself for the first, couple years, and then started jamming with some guitarists. I met James, one of my best friends, when I was 14. We were freshmen in high school, and
from Slow Croak?
Yes.
Yeah.
So him and then my buddy Ethan, who plays bass, his brother Carson, formed a band called Look Left, Swing Right. We were 16, metal band, and we just wanted to play heavy shit, and we just sucked for a while, and then we didn't. And in the words of Dave Grohl, I love this quote, for starting artists, you just gotta get in a garage with your friends and just suck and just suck and just keep sucking until one day you don't suck. And that's what we did. And we played together for 10 years. We used to play shows all over Michigan and stuff. Real heavy shit. But
solid advice.
Yeah. No, I mean, and James, he's over all the time. He's coming over shortly here. We still make music all the time. We don't make metal anymore, besides that one Slow Croak album that we did, instrumental metal album just recently. But other than that,
check the show notes. It's really, really, really fantastic. I was gonna say it's not necessarily speed, but it does go fast at times. It's very operatic, it's
deathcore, gent kind of hardcore ish, I guess, would be the subgenres I would throw it into.
But it almost has I don't know, it's a weird thing to say maybe, but a cinematic vibe to it, because it's very changing and pulsing and emotional,
sure,
kind of transitions throughout it.
It's pretty nuts. It's a far cry from my normal hip hop. But I mean, we wanted to revisit metal after not playing it for 7 years or 8 years, and we're just like, hey, now I have all this production knowledge. I have this studio. Like,
We could make some sick
we
shit.
could make what we used to make way darker, heavier, just better sounding in general, and just way crazier. So we just wanted to revisit it and just make a instrumental metal album with just the two of us. Is just the heaviest thing we could possibly conceive. No limits to whether we were ever going to play it live. Didn't have any intention to, and just wanted to make something off the walls crazy. So we did that as a passion project. So that's out there on all the streaming platforms. But
How
anyways,
many songs are there out there on the Spotify for you guys on that?
For Slow Croak?
Yeah.
It's just the one album. So I don't know how many songs are on there. 7, maybe? There's 6 on that. So that's it.
How long did it take you guys to put that together? Because 2 musicians with all that sound that's a lot. Not studio hours, but like from start to finish.
It was about a year.
Okay.
Maybe a year and a half. It was, it wasn't necessarily every week, and it's like when we could, but like, metal is one of the genres that is held at the highest level of scrutiny when it comes to the mix and the guitar tone, and if that shit does not slap, like, people aren't buying it,
Yeah.
So with hip hop, you can get away with a lot like grimier vibes and different mixes, and but that kind of style of metal, it's just a high level of scrutiny. So it took me a long time to mix. We made sure to record everything clean, tight, multiple layers of guitar. It was a long process, but it took, shaved a year off my life for sure. But it was a passion project. We wanted to do it. So we just to say we did, just to say, the heaviest shit we could write, just to do it. And if no one listens to it, it's fine. It's not as, it wasn't necessarily a serious endeavor, because I spend most of my time on my Pablo Eskobear stuff, and so tied up with that I don't have time to, promote Slow Croak and but
because you've been in demand. Most recently, you won the Instrumental Album of the Year. When you make so much music with and for other artists, and you produced The Grandest, which is, I think, one of the best songs Sonny Ski got.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, that you guys really captured something there. How do you know what to keep and what to be like, here, try rapping on this, and what's going to be like just your stuff? Or is some of the stuff that's on that album
how do I differentiate like strictly instrumental stuff from rap beats, basically?
It's
a great question.
Or where does that does it just feel like a different well when you're working with a different artist, or does it all?
Well, see, when I make beats, I make hip hop beats, and like if I see it going in the direction as I'm making the beat that it's just gonna be an instrumental and stand on its own instrumental, then I just lean into that. If I feel like it's going in the direction where it has more space, a little bit more simple, and somebody could rap on it, and then I kind of lean into that. So, and there are certain cases right from the get-go when I hear that sample, I'm like, this is going to be a rap beat, or this is going to be an instrumental, but a lot of the times I don't necessarily know until I start getting, 15% of the way into the beat making process. But so, I mean, a lot of the stuff though that I release like on Spotify, like that's mostly all stuff that can stand on its own, instrumentals, just good beats, But there's some crossover. There's some of that stuff where I'm also like, oh, this could be a rap beat. Somebody could rap on it, and I also sell it as a rap beat or get somebody on it,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of songs that are just too busy, I have a lot of vocal samples in them or whatever, and it's just too busy for a rapper to rap on.
Yeah.
But then people surprise me, and they're like, no, I could rap on that. Hell yeah, I want to rap on that. I'm like, really? Yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. I don't know. What do I know? So I'm always surprised. Like sometimes stuff that I don't think, an artist could get on, they want to get on. But I mean, this the intentional rap beats that I make, I try to leave a little bit more space, a little bit more simplified,
Do people usually come to you and say, hey man, what kind of stuff do you have that you think would be good for me? Or how often does somebody come in and say, hey man, I want you to construct something just for me?
Yeah. I get more so of like, send me some beats kind of thing. Show
Yeah.
me some beats, and I'll send people beats for sure. But I much rather like to get people in the room in the studio and play on my beats in person.
Yeah.
It just has more of an effect. Like when they know me, the man behind the beats, and then they can hear him in here, and I can get their real time reaction on what they're liking and what they're not liking, rather than just emailing them a bunch
And you
of
could probably
beats.
show them like, well, we could change this right here, but doop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to do that. Obviously, I can't do that with everybody, just people that are, local or whatever,
Right.
come through
Right.
town. But I also make custom beats for people too, on a case by case basis.
Yeah. What bands and or specifically drummers were the first ones that like really influenced you to the point where you're like, I want to learn this song, or I want to learn, to figure out how to play like that guy's playing? First drummer that I ever was like, I want to try to do what he's doing was, I think, Jimi Hendrix's drummer from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's like, that guy's really good, but his style is like raw enough sounding that I thought I could try to emulate it. Not like Buddy Rich, where I was like, fuck that.
Yeah. I used to jam when I first started playing drums to a lot of like the Offspring, Nirvana, Linkin Park, bunch of different stuff. I was just trying to play along to it,
Yeah. Well, Dave
some
Grohl
drummers. I
is a
mean,
great drummer as far as like
Dave Grohl, Travis
he's
Barker.
a fantastic drummer, but he fits perfectly into a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Travis Barker later, when I got more into metal in later years, Matt Halpern was a big influence when I was playing metal. But early on, it was just a hodgepodge of different stuff, a lot of alternative rock, and then slowly got heavier. Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't metal right off the bat. Do you
Not
think
necessarily? Not the first couple of years, was it?
this is either going to be a really good question or not a good question at all? I'm not sure. But do you think playing music informed the kind of music that you wanted to start listening to, or not so much?
Yeah.
Where you could like, when you started to see like what the instrument you could do, like, no, I need heavier.
Yeah, for sure. And had a lot of energy when I was younger too, and just like
Yeah,
I don't
for
know,
sure.
playing metal drums is the most challenging and just so the most fun in my opinion. And I always enjoyed it. I thought it was the most badass kind of music, the most manly kind of music you could make.
Yeah.
And once I figured out how to play the double pedal, I just really sunk my teeth into that. I got better at my double pedal than I am with my single pedal. Really.
It opens up a whole new world when you can do. I can't do it, so I'm not speaking like I know exactly what you're talking about, but I do know, like when you can do that, like your drums, like the dynamic changes to how you approach them. Like
For sure.
it's probably
Overkill for hip hop. I don't use it too much in the hip hop stuff, but
like for drum nerds out there, you don't use a mounted tom, you have two floor toms. So like
I do have a mounted tom, I just don't have it set up right now.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you were rocking pretty hard, no mounted tom in there. I think the two floor toms intimidates a lot of people because they think like they're gonna lose speed by going that far away again from their.
Right. It is a little tricky.
So yeah, but do you think that's something? Again, this is only gonna apply for the drum nerds, but do you think that's something that you have to be like pretty technically proficient in order to have like the two floor toms set up? Because I don't know, feels like somebody who's not like really locked in with the drums would get lost the further down they got.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've had two floor toms for as long as I can remember, so it is a little tricky to get over there sometimes, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I have rack tom, but I just swapped it out for my Roland SPD-SX pad, so I can, right now how my kit is set up, what you see today, is because I'm practicing a live set for my Pablo Eskobear stuff. So it basically me playing my acoustic drums and trap drums on the Roland MIDI pad. So it was mounted right above my snare drum where the rack tom would be. So I'll play trap drums, backtracking, the beat on my laptop, and then I'll do acoustic fills, and then I'll play acoustic drums, for a minute, and then I'll go back to the trap drums. So it's like a hybrid acoustic electric drum kit live performance thing that I'm working on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that how you currently do your live performance setup, or no?
Well, I've only played one live show as Pablo Eskobear. And that was at the Jammies 2 years ago, not the most recent one.
But not at the beat battles?
No, beat battles, you don't actually perform. You ever been to a beat battle? So the ones that that Monk does, and which are pretty common around the country.
Yeah.
You show up with your flash drive and you load them in as the house DJ. Load them into the decks before it all begins. They draw names from a hat. You go up. The other beat maker goes up on the other side of the stage. Flip a coin to see who goes first. You tell the DJ what beat you want to play. Plays the 1 minute beat, and then based on what that producer played, you pick what beat you're going to play next. Okay. And the DJ plays them. So you're standing up there representing your beats, basically. Because it's more of a showcase and competition of beat production rather than it is beat performance.
Does it feel awkward though when you're just like standing there to your song being played?
Yeah. I mean, over the years I've gotten a little bit more showmanship. I'm kind of like bobbing my head and dancing around a little bit. Some people get really wild with it, but yeah, I don't know. I've gotten over it because I've done 4 or 5 of them now. But
okay, because I know like you and Zero both are proficient enough with your beat pads and things to sit there and actually do things live that way.
Yeah, I mean the one show I played at the Jammies a couple years ago, I finger drummed the whole set. Yeah, which was cool. I don't know if I'm going to do that again going forward. It was a lot of work, and I don't know if people really cared. I might as well just been turning knobs and doing a DJ set anyway. Yeah, but it was cool. But yeah, the reason I haven't really played shows, I've just been so locked in this studio, creating, producing, putting out tracks, and more so locked in with that, because playing live shows, it takes a lot of time and energy. Anybody that plays live will tell you, you got to practice a lot. You got to focus on booking and preparing for each show and changing your sets around and keep them interesting. And it's kind of like, man, it's just what have I wanted to focus on? And in the past few years, it's really been just producing. So, but now I'm actually at a point where I'm like, I need to start playing live shows, because it's a great networking opportunity. It gets me more exposure. Yeah. So right now, I'm putting together that acoustic electric drum kit performance because it's something I've kind of always wanted to figure out and do. Yeah. And it's with mostly my Trapped in the Forest album. There's a couple other ones mixed in there, I think, but kind of the harder stuff. And I actually mix in some double pedal on a couple songs, so it gives it a little bit of a metal drum feel, which is kind of cool. But I keep getting these offers to play shows, more so electronic shows or DJ setup kind of things, like just venues and vibes that would not fit with my with a drum set. Either the venue's too small, I'd blow everybody's ears out, or it's just like there's no changeover time. Everybody else is just using decks or whatever. So I'm also trying to put together more of a electronic set. I don't know how to use turntables. I've never been a DJ. I won't claim I'm a DJ, and I don't know if I will. I mean, maybe that's something I will learn. Who knows? Yeah. Thinking about. I'm just trying to put together a show with a MIDI controller and do some stuff so I can capitalize on some of those, show offers that I'm getting. So I'm hoping by the summer I can line up some of those too.
I want to try to bridge the gap here a little bit from you becoming a metal musician to hip hop producer. So that seems like a big jump, but maybe it's more of a natural slide than people would think. I'm not really sure what your story is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a natural slide, but yeah, I mean, we played in the metal band for 10 years, and we kind of ended up splitting up. It's just everybody's hearts weren't in it anymore and doing different things, different points in life. And I'm
Yeah,
still best friends with all those dudes. They're all my homies, but
yeah,
just kind of fell apart. So I at the time I was using Reaper to kind of do really rudimentary stuff. Reaper is a DAW,
yeah.
for our metal stuff, and then I got in college when I was going to Western. There was a dude that I kind of knew that was a DJ, and all his DJ equipment got stolen, which
Ooh,
included his laptop with Ableton Live on there, which is the DAW I use today. And he's like, "Screw it, I just give up on DJing." Like all my stuff got stolen.
that
And he's
sucks.
like, and he offered me, he's like, "Do you want the Ableton Live license?" And I was like, "Dude, hell yeah!"
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I was getting really into Pretty Lights in college. I still love Pretty Lights, electronic, and I knew he used it, and I was like, "That'd be dope." So got Ableton Live. I think it was 8, and I got a free upgrade to 9 at the time, and then started messing around with it, and it was fun. And I think it opened up a whole new world to me of music production where I could make full songs and not have to rely on other people. I didn't need a full band.
yeah.
I before that I was just a drummer. I couldn't do anything else really. But Ableton Live really made it easy to produce full tracks. So started just messing around, and I don't know when that was, 2012 or 13, and then just snowballed from there, just screwing around with it. I don't think it was until I think I first started putting music out on Spotify in 2019. I want to say it was, but yeah, just snowballed into just making crazy stuff on Ableton Live, and
Yeah.
got I listened to some hip hop. Like, I was very picky about my rap music when I was younger. It wasn't really until college where I really sunk my teeth into hip hop, which is kind of funny because it's like all I make now is hip hop beats. Um, and I'll talk to these hip hop heads that have been really diehard hip hop heads from when they were young kids. I necessarily wasn't. So some of these like golden era hip hop like rappers and references that like I'll hear sometimes, like I don't always get them. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but and then I look them up. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of do. So I don't know. I came into hip hop from a totally different angle for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it gives me a unique kind of spin on the music too, coming from a different world, coming from different rhythms, and um, I don't know. So I like to think it gives me an edge.
Yeah. So when did you specifically start working with other artists? How did you get from like making some beats to getting your name out there? Did you just go out there and network with people and say, "Hey, I'd love to work with you," or did people start hearing your stuff and kind of come to you? Was it a little bit of both?
Well, I don't know, first started putting stuff on SoundCloud years ago, and then escalated up to Spotify and selling beats online on BeatStars and having my own beat store and whatnot. But even then, like trying to gain traction online, I was just spinning my wheels.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the internet, sometimes it just feels like you're screaming into the void when you put anything
it's
out there.
very competitive, very
Yeah.
competitive. Um,
Then you
but
got to
yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
marketing strategy. It's like,
well, really, I didn't start getting my name out there until the last 2 years, really, because I bought this house 5 years ago, um, and I wanted to buy a house because everywhere I've ever played my drums since I was 12, I've gotten noise complaints. My parents' house, my friend's house, like wherever I had it
yeah,
growing up, like the cops get called on me because I mean I beat the shit out of my drums. I was playing metal drums, you know.
Wonderful instrument, but it's hard not to play the drums loud.
It is, and that's why there's not a lot of drummers out there.
You
I mean, you
just
can be a
wanna let it go.
guitarist and sit in your bedroom and plug into the amp with your headphones or play acoustic guitar, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just it's great. But drummers, were it's much more difficult. So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to buy a house so I could play my drums, and I also wanted to buy a house with a good basement where I could build out a soundproof room where I could play drums anytime I wanted without the neighbors hearing me, you know.
Yeah.
And so when I found this house, it had extra high ceilings for a Michigan basement. It's in East Town. For anybody that hasn't been over here, it's a big old brick house and built in 1901, and it's cool. It's got a lot of character, but the ceilings are extra high down here. It had the space, and more than just a soundproof drum room. I had the space to actually build out, you know, a full studio. So the control room, the live room where my drums are, windows in between, the vocal booth, window into the vocal booth, and my brother-in-law, who's an architect, helped kind of lay out the plans, and then my buddy Kuba, shout out to A Kuba Builders, he you know, we put our heads together. He does construction, and he basically you know, built it all. I did what I could myself, but he did you know, the whole heavy lifting of building this. So we did double layers of drywall, double layers of ceiling tile, mass loaded vinyl rolled out above the ceiling, acoustic insulation above the ceiling. It's actually triple layers between the control room and the vocal booth. We instead of it's a drop ceiling, but instead of doing the big rectangular lights that you see in commercial offices and drop ceilings, those would let too much sound in. So, we wanted no sound to escape the room. So we did sconces on the walls, because that was, you know, just less holes in the walls. Like outlets are on the outside of the walls, except for that one over there. But
yeah,
and just I wanted to make it as airtight as possible. And when I got done building it all, I, you know, setting it up, I jammed on my drums, went to my neighbor next door that, you know, we don't share a driveway, but there's a driveway in between our houses. That's how close we are, you know.
Yeah.
Like, can you hear anything? It's like, as far as I know, you don't know how to play drums. I was like, dude, that's the best thing I've ever heard. So back to what you were asking, you know, after building this studio, and then just, it was like the first couple years I had this, I didn't really get many people in here, and like I was just making music by myself and with my friends, you know, close friends, and for the first couple years, and then started getting some traction in the last couple years. You know, kind of started when I did one of Monk's first beat battles a few years ago. Started actually just playing my beats in front of people, and then, you know, networking and going from there, going to hip hop shows and just meeting rappers and stuff, and inviting people over and showing them my music, showing them my studio, and, you know, word of mouth just kind of has been spreading.
Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong. That a lot of your building your brand, I guess, so to speak, would be based on networking, which is how we met. We were at the same networking event, and you and me were talking for a couple of minutes before I realized who you were, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I listen to your music all the time.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, man, you didn't seem shy to come up and be like, hey, how's it going? Which is, I feel like 80% of the game is just like walking up to people and being like, hi, this is me, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And, you know, people will let you know pretty fast if they're interested or not.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, is that what's your mindset or approach to networking? I know some people feel kind of awkward about it, and some people are like, no, I love it.
No, I love networking. That's the key. I mean, it's kind of all about who you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know enough people, honestly. I need to expand my network tenfold for what it is today.
Most of my production and engineering credits are based on somebody being like, "Hey man, are you available like in an hour?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? So so much is who you know and timing and
being prepared.
Yeah. Exactly.
Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
Networking, it's about who you know. And I think you can make the best music in the world. You can make just phenomenal music, but if no one hears it, if you don't get it in front of the right ears, it's never going to go anywhere. Doesn't matter how talented you are.
Yeah.
If no one hears it, if you don't finish it, put it out there and promote it, most importantly, it's just going to die on the internet.
A lot of people do walk into any venture that's artistic, whether it's painting, music, writing, and they're like, if I just make something good enough, the world will do what it's supposed to and be like, oh, look at this.
But somebody's going to discover me. Somebody's just going to randomly stumble across that on Spotify, even though there's 600,000 songs uploaded a day. Maybe it's 60,000. I don't know. It's maybe 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify a day, something like that. I can't remember what the stat was, but it's absolutely insane.
But it's bananas.
Yeah.
Which is cool though, in the sense that there's not that barrier to getting your music out into the world.
And it's the same with making beats, because I sell beats online and I sell, beats to local rappers and work with local rappers. I'm not always just trying to sell a beat, of course, too, but it's the same thing too with there's so many beat makers and producers out there. Like the online beat selling marketplace is so saturated. I'm not discouraging anybody from getting into it. And I think there's still room for everybody, but it is, I'll say it's very competitive, might be a better way to phrase it.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I still have a 9-to-5, so I'm not doing music full time just because it's hard as hell to make money off music.
Yeah.
But, so it's hard for me to compete with a lot of the beat makers that are cranking out a beat a day or some 3 beats a day and posting them online and hitting the algorithms on YouTube and on BeatStars and stuff. It's just like social media, like you post every day, you'll get good traction. You'll hit the algorithms. If you post on, beats on YouTube and on BeatStars, which is the biggest online beat selling marketplace, you'll gain traction. I don't have time to make beats every day. I work on music every single day, at least an hour and a half. And then if I'm working and several hours on the weekends, 12-hour days on music. Right. But, still, I only have so much time with a full-time job to do it. So I think that's the hardest part, is trying to compete with these producers that do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to expect full-time results out of part-time effort.
Yeah.
Or,
no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. I struggle with that same thing too, because I've got kids ranging in age from 20. Oh my God, how old is she? 20, gonna be 24 to 9, and a couple in between. So,
that's a lot of work.
Putting in work to exactly. Putting in the work to write and try to get books out in a somewhat timely manner. Some days it's like, nope, I just have to be, I'm just going to have to be there for, these kids.
Yeah.
And then you get kind of in that, I just want to do my creative shit.
Yeah.
Get into those moods. Do you get weird if you don't create, if you just kind of go on an unusually long period of not making something?
Yeah, for sure.
I get weird and more withdrawn and just kind of snippy with people. Almost like I used to smoke cigarettes and it would be day 2 of not having had a cigarette.
Uh-huh. Your skin's crawling.
Or you're just don't fucking look at me. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, totally. You have to get that creative energy out. some way or another.
Yeah.
Um,
I draw little doodles sometimes when I'm sitting at a coffee shop, and somebody walking by would probably be like, "Ew, why is this guy making such horrible drawings?" But it's just like, I got to draw this little face. I
it's
got to do
good for the
something.
soul. It's good for the
Yeah.
mind. I think everybody needs a creative outlet, I recently bought this controller behind me here, but this is the Ableton Move. And I bought it to get me out of the studio, even though I obviously use it here in the studio too. But it's a little small controller. It's a little MIDI controller for people that are listening. It's got a bunch of pads on it and knobs, right?
Yeah.
But if anybody's familiar with the Ableton Push, made for Ableton Live, I don't want to say it's a mini version of that because it's really not. It's an entirely different instrument altogether. But the coolest thing is you can just take it to a park, just plug your headphones in. It's an all-in-one beat-making machine, You can, record samples in it. It actually has a microphone. It's like limited to kind of like 4 tracks, so it just keeps things really simple. And it's just something to sketch ideas out, like just kind of like a sketch pad, basically. And then if I come up with something cool, bring it back into the studio, plug it in, and it seamlessly uploads onto my laptop into Ableton Live, and then I can, polish it up after the fact. But
That's
awesome.
Yeah,
sometimes it just feels better to get out of the studio and just be in a different setting to create.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I love about this thing.
Yeah. No, in the same kind of a way, I have a notepad that I'll use for like just kind of writing before I like sit down to like write like part of a book or something. I'll just kind of like write some ideas, or just kind of a very like journally, like today I did this, right now I'm doing this, and kind of get into like a weird little state. And then I'll start to draw a picture. And then at some point while I'm drawing a picture, I'm just like, I got to start writing. And it's kind of that same thing. Like you bring a certain energy into this thing, and then before you know it, like you're like, I've moved past this. I need my tools.
Right.
Like,
yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where I hit a wall with that controller, and I'm like, okay, this idea has legs. I'm bringing this thing back downstairs.
Yeah.
Let's make it into a full song. Yeah. Hold
That's
that thought. Mind if I use the bathroom real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead. And we're back.
I work on music every day, even if it's for an hour. At the end of the night,
the
but
same way people commit to a workout.
Always, because I have a 9 to 5, and then I get home, I gotta walk my dog. I like to work out at least 3 days a week, stay in shape, and then make dinner, and then by that time I might only have an hour and a half before I gotta go to sleep, and then get up and work the next morning.
Yeah.
Besides the weekend. So, but still, like, I'm squeezing in at least an hour to work on something, but it's not always creating music. I'm not always coming down here and just like, oh, let's just make a banger real quick, A lot of times I'm doing the business end of things. I'm emailing beats out, I'm uploading beats to YouTube or BeatStars. Sometimes it's editing videos, my playthrough videos that I post on social media.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just mixing a song, just polishing it up, and just making little EQ adjustments to snare drum that no one's probably ever going to hear. And so there's a lot of shit that's just not always necessarily like fun, but necessary that I have to do. So I'm always working on some aspect of music every day, but it's not always creating, I'll say.
Yeah.
But I wish. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
speaking of those videos that you post on social media, those have been very well done, and they seem very very catchy, very eye grabby, like as they're supposed to be on Instagram.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little bit quicker at editing those these days. They used to take me a while, but I think it's important for people to see the process, just to visualize rather than just listen.
Yeah. Are those just? Did you have any kind of like a social media strategy, even as far as like how often or what time of day you post, or as far as to like what kind of content you like aim to create?
So I mean, while I would love to post those beat making videos, those beat playthrough videos that I do every day, like again, like
Those
I don't
take
have the
time to
time to
make.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, like if I did it, if I was doing music full time, which I still hope, that's my dream, that's my goal. I would love to quit my job and do it full time. But until then, you know, I only got so much time. So, you know, I might post a couple a week. Sometimes a great week would be 3 or so. And I might post some other stuff in between here and there, but I'm not as hooked to a schedule. Time of day, I usually do like 5:30. I think a lot of people, just so that a lot of people that scroll doing work without audio
Mm-hmm.
will look at it and won't hear it, and I don't want that. I don't want people. A lot of people are my age that are my listeners too, and so I want people to be
That's a good thought.
watching my video when they're not at work, so that they can actually hear it and not just swipe past it and just see a guy making beats. You know,
That's interesting, because I've heard people say like, you know, you've got to do it between like 10 a.m. and 11 a.m.
You're
But
supposed to look at when your followers are active or whatever. But
yeah. But that's because some people probably make content specifically that you can, you know, you don't need to hear, where
yeah,
yours is like the exact opposite. You need somebody to
you
hear
got to
it.
listen, otherwise my
Yeah.
content's worthless. Yeah.
Interesting. That's good strategy. That's good thinking.
It's so frustrating. My Instagram got taken down
that's
like 4 or 5 days ago.
That's right. I saw that you had posted
Dude,
that
so
they put you like in
frustrating.
Instagram jail for something.
I've had posts taken down in the past, or like restricted from stuff, like, and like,
Was it
because I remember
for
like one time it was like I posted a beat playthrough video of a beat on my Trapped in the Forest album called Oligarch Shark, and it's this hard Russian dark trap beat, and I posted it, and I like the caption, I was like, hard Russian mob vibes or something like that, you know, and it got flagged like I was like promoting Russian mob content or something. Like, and it's all algorithm, it's not actually people reviewing this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it got like flagged, taken down, and I was like, oh my god. But I've never had my whole account shut down, and this time, like, I just woke up the other morning and it was just like, nope, your Instagram's suspended. You can appeal it, and I had the option to click appeal. No words, no explanation on my part, anything, and it was like, we'll let you know. And then like a couple days went by, and I was totally blocked from Instagram, and note that it was linked to my Facebook and linked to our other Instagram Slow Croak account and one other one. So all those were all suspended too. And I was just like sitting here thinking, like, it said like, if we find it meets our guidelines, we'll fire it back up. If not, it'll be permanently deleted. And I was like, okay, permanently deleted. So just years of, you know, gaining all these followers is just gone because of some algorithm thought that I was not following the rules. And then, you know, a couple days later, it got reinstated. I was like, oh, thank God. 2 days later, which was yesterday or the day before, it got shut down again. I didn't do anything. I posted one more beat playthrough video. There was no questionable hashtags, captions, anything in the video. Like, I don't do anything offensive or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that my name, Pablo Eskobear, is so close to Pablo Escobar, of course, right? It's playing his name, right? But I think it's for some reason something to do with that, and they think I'm promoting drugs and violence. Yeah. I think the algorithm does, right? Not actually humans reviewing this stuff, but the algorithm just keeps like flagging me.
Yeah.
I think I'm like some real Colombian drug lord in a bear form. I don't know. The most frustrating part is they never told me, so they reinstated it twice now, and they never were like, "Oh, this is what happened. Sorry," like, so I can know in the future, so I can try to avoid maybe not doing certain things, but. No idea. They're just like, oh, here you go. So I'm like, okay. Now I'm just like walking on eggshells, like hoping my account doesn't get shut down again.
Yeah. I've never been. Well, no, that's not true. I was put in, I guess, Facebook jail because my my pen name is not my real name. Shocker, twist. I don't know. I'll put a different drop in there. Both of those didn't sound right. And when I tried to make a Facebook with my author name, then I got flagged for misrepresenting myself. And then I was like, oh, and then I read the things like, okay, so if anybody's like, why is your page a business page? It's because my real page has my real name on it. And then my attached business page has my pen name on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been in jail, but it like actually made sense to me why when yours is just like, well, you know, our AI said this wasn't good.
Right.
We looked at it and we're like, our AI is not flawless.
Yeah, frustrating.
AI is a big thing with writers right now too. Like, I think right now AI can legally read copyrighted material to be trained on, and writers are like, we want to have the option of whether or not our copyrighted material is used to train AI or not. Is there any and AI covers? Amazon won't sell books with AI generated covers, or something like that. I can't remember now. But is there a controversy surrounding AI in music right now?
Yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole.
How much time you get?
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings on it. I think that AI in the music world is hopefully going to be used as a tool to musicians rather than just a one click or prompt, create me a whole song kind of thing.
Yeah.
That obviously exists today with Suno AI. You ever use Suno AI?
No.
Dude, you gotta do it just for shits. Can I swear on this? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is incredible. It's not rewarding. You know, I've just played around with it, but like you go on there and you can do like the free version. You type in a prompt like make me, you know, a dusty old boom bap style hip hop beat with horns. Enter. Boom, it makes these like two different versions. And it's a fully produced, mixed, mastered song, and it sounds pretty damn good. There's a little bit of fidelity quality that if you have a really good ear, you know, you can kind of hear that, you know, but for the most part, it's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
It's scary good, honestly,
with
what it creates. And it's concerning, but like in Timbaland's all about, he's promoting Suno AI. He uses it a lot to like remix his own tracks and just like put beats into it and have it create vocal hooks for him, and then maybe he'll have somebody re-sing them and stuff. I haven't done a ton with that. Suno AI, I don't know, maybe I'll screw around with it more, but what I really want, and I know that there is some sites and kind of apps, plugins that are getting into this, but I don't think it's quite there yet to where I believe it should be, but is a like an AI sample generator. Like I think I would use the shit out of that. You know? If I'm like I have this beat right, and I need this brass, this horn section, I need like an 8-bar loop, an E minor of just some brass. Like, and if I could, whether it be type in a prompt or upload the section of my beat that I need it to make a sample for, and then give me that sample on demand and kind of manipulate it.
Yeah,
that would be tight. Man, I think there's people are working on stuff like that. I also think like if Suno AI, the one that makes full tracks, if you could get the stems from that, that would be a game changer. So the stems meaning instead of just getting the one MP3 song, you get the bass, you get the drums, you get the guitar, you get the vocals all separate.
Each individualized.
So then you can chop it up and, you know,
yeah,
use whatever you want,
make your own mixed
parts,
cut
but
pieces.
I think there's a lot of legality, hairiness, copyright.
I was gonna say, can you
stuff
then
going on with that?
Are there like limited uses for the things that you do? Can you like not upload it to YouTube or?
So like, I mean, there's people that just go on Suno AI, just crank out tracks, AI tracks, and upload them online.
Yeah.
And I think Spotify's been really cracking down on that, and if they catch it, they'll flag it, take it down. I don't know how they do
for like a podcast, and they said, I want a podcast song with blah 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 blah. Do they have to pay the AI software company for the use of that song? Like,
see, that's where I'm not an expert in, but
yeah,
as far as I know, that area
I'm not
is
on the
still
writing
very
side
gray.
either.
It's still very gray. The legality and copyright laws behind that stuff still getting set in stone. So as of now, you can get away with a lot of it and just not worry about it, kind of thing. I think. I don't know. In my beat making process at this point, I don't use any AI. There is a MIDI AI generator that I have called Lemonade that I use occasionally, which is cool. It generates AI MIDI notes, which you can put on any instrument. You can put it on a synth track or strings or brass or drums or whatever. It's mostly for chords and melodies. Occasionally I'll use that, but I don't know. I was actually going to try Ace Studio recently, which is a AI vocal generator, I guess you would call it. It's pretty cool. I haven't actually used it, but I keep getting targeted ads on Instagram for it. It's one of the best out there right now.
It knows you want it.
Basically,
just
you type the lyrics, and it sings them, and you can choose all these different voice models, but it also gives you like the MIDI for it. So like you can manipulate it, like, oh no, when she hits the word apple, I need it not be an E, I want it to be a C, and kind of just really, you can get granular with editing the phrases of it. And then I don't know. So I've been thinking about playing around with that just to like put little vocal samples in my beats or whatever.
Yeah.
But I haven't messed with it yet.
How often do you sing on your own stuff?
I don't touch the mic.
You don't sample your own voice? Nothing?
Nah. Well, I mean, like sometimes I'll do little like percussive stuff with my mouth, little like like
but not the classical
little like little things like that. But no, I don't rap, I don't sing. Never been my wheelhouse. I don't think ever will be my wheelhouse.
That's why you sat down behind a drum set in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some songs in the works there. So, for now, check out my instrumentals on Spotify or any of the major digital streaming platforms. It's on all of them. If you're a rapper and you want some beats, I got an online beat store. So it's on my website, pabloeskobear.com. So you can, find my music there to stream and, my beat store to download beats. And yeah, I guess those are the two big things. I'm collaborating with a lot of people, doing a lot of different stuff, and just trying to get my name out there, my music out there more.
Oh yeah, man. Well, Pablo Eskobear, thank you for making some music with me here today. Your drums are going to lend a lot of legitimacy to the sound of that music. I had a feeling when I came in here today, I was like, he's going to be a way better musician than me, but he's also a producer, so he's going to have to be nice about it.
Oh, good.
Man, thanks for jamming with me here and having me in your place and let me pet your dog and doing the podcast here.
For sure. Thanks for having me.